your just cost you. But in some cases, people say, "Oh, we're 3 years out." Well, take whatever that number is and cut it in half.
Yeah, that's not what I did. So I figured they'll probably start like seriously looking next year.
See, it's like all these steps that
Yeah,
sometimes I'm like, oh, what are these steps, right?
But
So
you
now
never know,
what we'll
sometimes
do is we'll have this, so now once they come back on, we'll be up here, and then what I'll do is I will keep track of questions, and then I can let you know about that, and I'm gonna turn one light off so that we can see this, and I'm gonna move my camera, because I had it,
I was on something with exercise science.
have it like,
So
it's on the edge, it's a little too far.
He's done that. Where he makes these living, not doing the phone or anything, first.
there, so if you're standing here or there, then you
And
can see.
I'm working,
So
I'm
you're
working on the house.
Oh, there, because that, they can, I mean,
Oh, okay.
people here can see the screen, and then this is what they'll see, for you. So this will be on their computer screen,
Once a week.
and then that'll be,
And that would
Girlfriend
be
is
on
frustrated,
their,
because the work is just in
on the corner.
Right.
yep, that,
Okay.
it depends on how they wanna see it, but, so they'll have this as an option, and then they can have a little sidebar of seeing you.
So without his guidance, do it, but I can't do it and still live like the quality of life that I want. So. Always something, right?
Always something. Lindsay, how you doing?
Good.
Keeping with us?
Yes.
Good answer.
Jason, I'm sorry I didn't catch the whole thing,
Oh.
but what I saw was great. It was perfect, and I think we'll complement each other.
Good.
Because I don't really go into scripts and things like that, but I go into other options, but.
Yep.
we need them all.
Yeah, and it's just one piece of the puzzle, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing, like, that I have kind of come to realize, because I don't, like, the things that I say, like, I say them so much, that is like the scripting, right? Like
That's
when
what you say, yeah.
when I meet with new recruits, when I meet with people who wanna get into real estate, when I meet with clients, like, it just gets to a point where it just comes out of your mouth, and I'm like, how did I don't remember, like, how did I know this,
Yep.
right? But it's all just because that practice, you just keep doing it, and
And keep it simple. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't need to remember pages.
Right.
Pages, just,
right,
you know, for me, it's,
3-minute
who do you
elevator.
know that wants to buy or sell or invest in real estate?
Boom.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
right,
And how to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole philosophy behind,
Yeah.
you know, how you say it and the impact.
I mean, you could be a little snarky and say, well, if you're door knocking, and say, well, which one of your neighbors do you want to see leave? And we've done that,
yes, we have.
and people will answer them.
Yeah.
Well, and remember that one lady, she's like,
Yeah.
which neighbor sent you? We didn't even say anything like that, she was just like, who told you? Was it this neighbor over here? I think they want me to leave. I was like, we were like, what?
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, we, for sure, we can help you move,
Yeah.
whatever. Remember the other lady who wouldn't let her husband out the door?
Oh, yeah, she would stand in the doorway, and he's like, you can see him peeking through the side light, and she's like, stop it, and he's trying to walk through the door, and she's like, her leg, and she's just kind of pushing him back. She goes, I'll take care of this.
Right? And the poor guy, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Was she gonna get rid of you, or what, did she
Oh,
just
she wanted
wanna?
to talk, but yet build a wall between us and the husband.
I think the husband would have, you know,
Oh,
the house,
probably.
the
he
house
was
looked
the-
like totally deferred maintenance, like
Yeah.
they needed, and she was like, I know this house is great and we know how much it's worth and all this stuff, but
Right.
she wouldn't let him say a peep. And I'm like,
He was like a little kid, you know.
Right.
He's like, let me in, let me in.
he's like pushing on the door. What's going on? She's like, nothing.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like,
Suffers
you knew
from
who the
FOMO.
decision maker was.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
yeah, so interesting,
You really do learn to read people,
right?
you
Yeah.
know, to see the different relationships. and who's gonna be a decision maker and
Who is not gonna make a
Yeah.
decision?
yeah.
My boyfriend and I clash on that because we're both decision makers.
Yeah.
And then like we'll just have completely different ideas.
So that makes it a little more challenging for, as an agent too, but good experience for you. That Zillow commercial that they have out, for the different me's, and she's in the conference room with all the different me's, is,
I haven't seen that.
oh,
It's my very first day in here, so.
oh, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, you were in the right spot.
All right, so, let's just have everybody turn their camera on so that you can meet Kathy and she can meet you. And then we will get started. I need to make the screen a little bit bigger so you can see it. That's why I see one person at a time here.
It's all my cold.
Okay. This one. All right, so we can start in the room and then we'll have, once everybody gets their camera on, they can go ahead. Just basically do the same introduction you guys did before, you know, your name, where you're from, and kind of your knowledge or where you're at in real estate. And Tom, you get to go first.
Cool, so I'm still Tom. I live in Bloomington. I have been doing this since fall of 2017.
Great, thank you, Tom. So you got a foot in the field for sure.
Yep.
Lindsay?
I'm Lindsay. I live in Bloomington, and like I just said, it's my very first day here. My classes start on Monday.
Your real
My
estate
real estate
classes?
classes start Monday.
Great, wow, welcome.
Thank
You are in the right place. And as you'll find, there are many brokers out there, and KW by far is, they have the best training, the best technology.
I see that beautiful calendar.
Yes.
It's been by my side since I gave it to you.
Good to know. Great, thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you.
So who do we have up here? Janet?
Hello, good morning. So I am Janet Christensen. I am from Burnsville, and I just completed course 2, so completing course 3 hopefully soon, and then taking the test.
Great, thank you. So you are deep in the midst of it.
Mm-hmm.
All of this information, well, I hope today is relaxing for you and enjoying for you. Because you get plenty of new information in class and lots of stuff going on. So thank you, welcome. Christine?
Hi, I'm Christine. I live in Prior Lake, and I've been here since May.
Great, thank you, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's see, Grace.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm from Apple Valley and I currently live in Apple Valley. And I just got my license last week.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a huge deal. Aren't you glad the test is behind you?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
A lot. It is a lot and it's very overwhelming, but you know what? Just take your time. And Jessica keeps saying, take a breath. You'll get there. You've got a lot of people behind you. So that's all.
The hardest part is behind you. You know, they compare the real estate exam to the bar and to the CPA. And the difference, you know, with the CPA is that you can still do taxes, but you cannot be a realtor without the license, you know, or a lawyer. So congratulations. That is
Thank
not
you.
an easy test, and you never have to take it again.
Oh my gosh. I didn't. So when they told me that, I was like, you're kidding. I was so happy. I thought maybe you'd have to take it. You know, when I was fresh into it, I thought maybe you'd have to take it like every 2 years when you did your continuing education. They're like, nope, you don't ever have to do it again. I was like, thank goodness.
Unless you get your license in another state.
Yeah.
But
Right.
you've already been through it. Yeah, you do have to sit for their their licensure and go through their classes and all that.
So you get national, so you can use national anywhere. You don't have to take that again, it's just the individual state. But we also have referral systems, so I've had a lot of people say, well, I'm gonna get my license in another state, and then I'm like, what if you just refer it out and it's a slam dunk and you could, you can negotiate it, it's usually 25%, but you could say, you know what? This person they're qualified, all this stuff, let's do 50. And you never know. I mean, people are like, well, I wouldn't have the business otherwise, right? So, and then you don't have to take that test.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, thank you and congratulations, Grace. And then
Thank you so much.
tell me about Abigail.
Hi, good morning. I'm a mother of two. I just relocated to Minneapolis from Egan, and I got my license after 9 months of class procrastination just last month. So I'm happy to be here.
Congratulations to you too. So are you a KW agent now?
Thank you.
That's huge. Well, thank you, everybody. I am Kathy Bonhoff.
Shrink that down.
And I think, yeah, okay.
I think if you hit that one, yeah. There you go, and then you can move that one, just slide it over there. And there you go.
Now will that show?
It'll show,
everybody?
I think, yeah, you can hit that one. Oh, and then just shrink it, like if you just go down here.
Oh, I just shrink
And
it
then
there.
shrink it there, yeah.
Okay, technology. So, well, good morning. I am Kathy Bonhoff. I have been in real estate for a little over 5 years. So, believe it or not, that's still considered new. I spent my first 3 years with another big broker with the color blue. But it was not until I found KW in this office in particular that I really felt like I found home. So I've been here for 2 years now, and I can't say enough good things about the energy in this market center, this company, the training, the technology, just far exceeds any other broker. So prior to that, I was in the photographic industry. I started my degree in child psych, and I was on my way to graduate school, and I took a part-time job with a local photographer that turned out to be the world's largest photographic company. And it was at the time that digital photography was just getting started. So I worked this part-time job with no intention of staying, and that turned into a full-time job, and I was there over 20 years, and joined the corporate ranks. So as a director in photographic development, my job was mostly to design, develop, and implement new technologies, new techniques. So I spent a lot of time in strip malls and standalone locations. I traveled the US and Canada, met some amazing people. And one of my projects is a studio called Flash Studios. I don't know if any of you had ever heard of that, maybe went there as a kid, or but Flash Studios was the first all digital studios in the United States, and that was right here in Burnsville. So as a part of developing those studios, again, I spent a lot of times in malls, and the two objectives were finding the right place and for the right price. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
So, but as digital photography grew, the photography industry as a whole began to change, and in many good ways, in that digital photography opened up this whole new interest in photography. I mean, everyone loved photography. So that was good. And the bad news was everyone was into photography. And so as technology, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but as technology grew, so did the line between professional and amateur. So I don't know if you remember, but when cell phones first came out, cameras were an option. So now cameras are not only on every cell phone, but they are high and fairly good quality cameras. So as that technology grew, the need for a large photography for the industry began to shrink because the professionalism in photography really didn't matter anymore. And so Lifetouch, as most of you know, was known for school photography. You know, everybody had their school picture taken every year, and you know, you look forward to that. It was kind of part of the whole you know, sense of being in school. Well, now that schools are still doing photography and you get your little comb, but the picture that is posted on Facebook is the one mom took on the front step, holding the sign up, Parker third grade, Brixton first grade, and she took that with her cell phone. So the industry changed and began to shrink, and I saw the need for a new career. So it didn't take me long, and real estate soon became my home. So that is my story and how I came here. And today, Jessica asked, so I will take care of that at the remote. So Jessica asked me to talk about buyers and buyers consultations. So I have 3 topics. The first one is, where do you find buyers and how do you attract them? So we're going to spend some time in sharing how I do it and what has been successful for me. How to turn a customer into a client, and what's involved in the buyer's consultation. So where to find buyers? For me, most of my buyers are referrals and recommendations. And so there is a difference between referrals and recommendations. Does anybody have an idea what that might be? So a referral is something that your family might do. And you know, when we start in real estate and we get our cards out to everybody, we kind of figure that, okay, we're going to start getting all of these families, friends, everybody's going to refer because they know you're in the industry. Well, I wish it happened that way, but it doesn't. And so a referral is something that somebody might say, you know, oh, I need a realtor, and they'll say, well, you know, my sister's a realtor, here's her name and number. So they know you to be in the industry. A recommendation says, I know you, I've worked with you. Most of that is past clients, but other industries, other workplaces. And for me, the biggest referral source is the community. So all of you are from different communities. I heard a lot of Bloomington, I heard Burnsville, I heard Apple Valley. What might be some ways in your community that, I'm just gonna kind of throw this out there, that would put you in front of people that could make a good recommendation for you?
Maybe volunteer events.
Exactly, volunteer. I lived in Burnsville for many, many years, and one of the very first volunteer things I did was to be on a re-election campaign for the mayor. Got to know not only other people, but I got to understand about the community. And what I find with buyers especially, sometimes it's a new community they're moving into, sometimes it isn't. But the more knowledge you have about your community, the more you become the expert. So getting involved in that. Another thing that I have found that has actually brought me recommendations as well as referrals is being on boards. You know, cities are always looking for citizens to sit on a board, whether that's a planning board, you know, a Parks and Rec board. They really want that. It's a great way to get to know your representatives as well as get to know your community and really what's going on. So that's another way. I was on the Ames Commission. If any of you, I know somebody lived in Burnsville here. It's the Art Center in Burnsville. And they pulled a commission together of citizens and business partners, and many of the recommendations that I have gotten came from working with people on the board. Another way is service industries, Rotary, Lions Club. Get involved in those industries.
She had raised her hand.
Oh, Abby.
One thing that I recently did, because I moved into a new neighborhood and I don't have many contacts in this new neighborhood, is I joined the local gym, and they have a huge network of people, and already just on the first day I've made contacts with a couple people. And so I'm really excited to, one, get my health in shape, and two, be able to meet people that are like-minded in those areas.
You know, that's great, Abby, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to bring that up too. Being around like-minded people is so helpful for, you know, being able, you'll hear that locker room conversation of, you know, oh, I'm thinking about putting my home on the market. And even if you don't disclose that you're a realtor, you really get an understanding of how, you know, people similar to you see the market and understand it, and kind of you hear so many things like, oh, well, now's not a good time to sell your house because there's so much competition. And you get the opportunity to say, well, not really, you know, and explaining the difference between a seller's market and a buyer's market. And again, you make those connections because you're like-minded. You value your health. So
Another thing I like about it is that it's not so much of a professional setting, so the people are more relaxed when you're talking to them. Like you said, they're sharing. They're not feeling like they're being scoped or prowled. They're just like, you know, sharing and being friendly. And so that's awesome. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing
You're
that.
welcome. You're welcome.
And, you know, Jason talked about a method of lead generating, of doing phone calls and door knocking, and he's been very successful with that, and I think Jessica has too. For me, my success came more from conversations like that, from the community, from involvement in the community, and, you know, of course, my sphere. But every opportunity you have to get out in front of people, not even doing the scripted thing, gives you an opportunity to practice and share your knowledge. And that does come back to you. Your sphere is another. So we talked about 4 areas to really find clients as well as, find buyers, as well as, you know, how to attract them. So by far your sphere, I think, Lindsay, I'm not sure if you've even gotten to this point, but have you had to write down all of your contacts and networks and family? All of you have done that, I'll bet. Well, if you haven't, it's usually a part of starting to get, your sphere is the people that know you, that like you, that want to refer you. Those were by far 90% of all of my, both buyers and sellers have come from your sphere. And just identifying that. And so of course, it's always going to be your family and friends, but in the community, there are other people that have referred and recommended me. And they're people that you see on a regular basis. So for example, your dentist, get into conversations with your dentist and, you know, refer your dentist, bring them new clients, and they in turn will bring you some. So we all have dentists that we can talk to about it, leave cards there. They get new patients that have emergency, you know, dental problems, and just so happens they're brand new to the community, and they will share your card. Same with insurance agents, your hobbies, you know, Abby talked about the gym. Get to know the front desk, and they can pass out your card. I pass out my card a lot, and not necessarily to people looking for things, but to people that you know, I built a relationship with. Another one is, for me, a hobby and passion of mine is horses. I have horses and I board my horse. And so boarders, talking with other people in your passion, and I've had several recommendations and buyers and sellers through my passion. So, but they begin to get to know you as a realtor, not your past life as a photographer or, you know, as a stylist. So that's another way. And then probably my biggest lead generator is outside of the sphere and referrals and recommendations is open houses. Take every opportunity to do an open house, and the biggest key to that is having them sign in. So have any of you done open houses and had success with that? No, and that's kind of a challenging thing to do to begin with, because it's like you have all these people coming in, and I think the tendency is to sell the house you're in, but really you're there to sell you. And so having a sheet there that you require them to sign in with their phone number, and you know, I always have a line that says, are you working with an agent? If so, and then you know that those are not the people you spend time with. You spend time with those that aren't looking and, you know, don't have an agent. So the process from that then becomes you connect with them again and you get them on an MLS search. And then you have a tracking mechanism for how often they're looking at, what they're looking at. You can define the borders. So any questions on that? So I want to do just a small exercise here, and since we have actually most of you online here, so I talked about 4 or 5 different community places and network opportunities that I found success in. If you can just jot down 4 or 5 that you think would bring success or open a door for you, and how you might approach them. So should we take 5 minutes?
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, 10 after 10. I think, do you have any suggestions or feedback?
Just for the, maybe wanting to spend more time on things.
Well, I think if you kind of like, one of the things that they always like is having an example of like what you do in a buyer consultation. Like, what you
Okay,
do.
that's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the real life examples. That's
Okay.
the most helpful.
Okay.
Stereotypes.
The real life.
Yeah.
So I could read that, but show me,
Right.
show me what you do.
Yeah, and if you want, what we've done in the past is we've had, like Anna did it and she had like a mock buyer consult. right?
Oh,
Like,
okay,
so,
yeah, and I thought we'd do that too.
yeah.
So I have a scenario that I was gonna
Sure.
lay out that was actually one of mine. And have them kind of, so lay out the scenario.
Yeah.
Have them, talk through it and then do, I'll be the client and.
Yeah.
So. okay.
Absolutely.
We can do it with each one too.
So how are we coming? Everybody, have 4 or 5? So let's start with Lindsay. Can you tell me what you have been?
So I currently work in the service industry, bartending, server. So my plan is when I start getting business cards, is to start handing out cards, like with their checks, if my job will allow it. Or just like get in like casual conversation. Cause like I work in the Mall of America, so it's a lot of like tourists and a lot of people from all over. So it's a really good way to get like my name out all over the state of Minnesota. Or
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I actually have had periods of time where I made a goal that every day I would give out 5 business cards. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but giving out 5 and those will come back around to you. But yeah, that's a great idea.
And then another one, my boyfriend, he works in like a big roofing company and house like construction. So we plan to like collaborate and kind of exchange clients in that kind of way.
So he's in the construction,
He's
like
roofing, he does roofing and like remodels houses and that kind of stuff.
in the residential industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's a great idea. So, good. Did you have any more you wanted to share?
Oh, just like social media. I don't have Instagram. I don't really use Facebook. So I guess to make those accounts start getting my name out there.
LinkedIn is a great way to do that too,
Okay.
because it sets you up as a professional. And once you have your business card, you'll have your image to put on there, so it's a professional image. And a lot of fellow agents that I've worked with in
my past brokerage, actually do a weekly, and it's something, a weekly update on the market. Some of them will do a little video, you know, 40-second video of, you know, it's still a strong seller's market and here's why. And so that's really, really helpful. And depending on what kind of clients that you want to recruit, it sets you up right away as a professional. So, great. Thank you. Thank you. So, Christine, how about you?
Yeah, I put mostly like my sphere, sorry. And within that, like I was a hairdresser for 28 years. So I have a lot of like relationships from those clients. And then also just I have 2 kids and they're very involved in sports. And so, you know, just being in the community and you know, working on that end as well and building relationships that way. Social media is another thing that I'm an avid Facebook user, and so I'm trying to figure out Instagram, and I really want to start expanding in that area as well. And also my husband is an insurance agent, so I have lots of you know, networking through that and with lenders and roofers and all of that jazz. So.
And that's huge, having that network of lenders. So you said you've had your license for how long?
Since May.
May, okay. So that process is still developing for you and everything. But have you come across where you have a potential new buyer and they're not pre-qualified yet?
No, I do have one potential buyer that they are wanting to wait till next year. They're waiting on the market, and I feel like I've tried to like explain to them, but they're not ready yet. So, you know, I'm just gonna keep doing my 36 touch with them, and you know, we'll see. But yeah, I sold my own house, and I had a house in St. Louis Park. So that actually closes next week. And I feel like I've been so focused on learning all of that and the paperwork and all that goes into that, that I haven't been able to focus so much on this. So I'm kind of looking forward to the closing for lots of reasons, but also so I can start focusing on all of this.
You know, and good for you, because that's probably one of the most impactful experiences that you can have as a real estate agent, is to go through that process yourself. And
yeah, I learned a lot.
So you truly can share personal experiences about everything from, you know, the listing process to the inspection process, the negotiation process, and the closing process. So that's huge. So all of you should sell your house right now. Put yourself as the agent and get out there, do open houses, find buyers in there, and you know, it's a great way to get knowledge on the industry and build clients. So thank you, Christine.
Yep. Thanks.
I'll go if nobody's gonna go.
Say my name. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Janet, did you want to go?
Sure, I'll go. I didn't know if you said my name, and it sounded like it, but my thing cut out, so I wasn't 100% sure. So for me, I really want to utilize the social media platforms. LinkedIn is a big one for me based on all the connections that I have in regards to construction. And so LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm also a member of the MHA, which is the Minnesota Housing Association Committee. I'm on the committee there, was on the golf committee, and I think there is going to be a huge potential for me to connect with some of those owners. And then my last thing I really want to do is, once I get my license and get my cards, go through my professional and personal address book and send out personal notes to everyone, just letting them know that now I'm in the field, if they have an interest or if they want to just connect with me in regards to having a conversation in regards to selling. I think that's where I want to start out, just to kind of build my base to get the word out that I am going to be selling property.
That's great, and absolutely right, and you're already, you know, ahead of the game. You're involved in the community and, you know, the Minnesota Realtor Golf, you know, so again, you're connecting with people on a common interest base, and you'll find that people start asking you, and sometimes it's just a way to make conversation. So how's the market? You know, and the more prepared you have your 3-minute elevator speech on, well, you know, that depends. Are you thinking from the seller's perspective or the buyer's? Have them both ready. There's a sheet here that is sent out once a week, and it tells you exactly how many houses are on the market from last week. No, 3 numbers. No, there's 5,500 active listings, you know, in the last week. There are 1,400, you know, and you don't have to have the exact number, but 1,400 pending, and the average days on market are 17.9. People love facts. And, you know, again, that makes you, and it's a very easy thing to do. Go on MLS. If you're already here and you get Steve's weekly thing, it's all right there. I don't know, have any of you guys seen Steve Rawls? I don't know, can you see this? Where am I? Probably not. Yeah, so just another tool out there. So great, thank you.
Yep. Are you finding that information on the MLS? Is that where you would find that information?
There is he used to be our broker here, but he's an agent and he sends it out. So if you connect with Jessica, she can get you that email. He'll send it out every week. And it's got a whole list of current stats that, you know, you can kind of, it's actually, at first it's overwhelming, but he breaks out the active listings for the week, the percent of change, and, you know, how many pending, how long it's been on, and then compares it to the other years. But I have clients that love data, you know, they're engineers, the more facts and numbers they can get, the better. So yeah, we can have that sent to you, and I'll make a note here too, Janet, to get you on that list, and you'll get it every week.
Perfect, thank you.
But you can also find it on MLS, but it's much easier to follow this way. So, okay, great, thank you. Abby, did you want to go next?
Yeah, I will. So out of the list that I made, prior to this, I had started a mom blog, and I've been tracking my journey with my real estate through my mom blog, and I've kind of been building suspense. I've got a few people already reaching out to me through social media from just tracking my journey on there. I'm really comfortable on Facebook, but I am encouraging myself to reach out to like LinkedIn, Instagram, even TikTok, to just get our brand and the publicity out there buzzing. So that's like kind of how I'm like creating buzz. And then some things I want to get into is join my kids' school board. My daughter's going to start kindergarten this year, so I'm really excited to start meeting other parents and families and people like in the same group as me. Another place I've been dropping off my cards and speaking with people, all my beauty industry girls, like my nail salon, my eyebrow waxing, my hairstylist. I've been making sure that they know that, you know, my career's changed and I don't just do makeup, and I'm not just at home anymore. I can list their house right now and get the top dollar that they'll probably see in a long time. So that's another thing. Another lead that I had saw a lot of good people, I thought, was at the dog park. people that I feel like care good about their pets and spend time with their pets are also people that care about their lifestyles and home buying process. So I kind of feel like those are the kind of people that I'd like to network too with. Dog owners, stay somewhere for a while and relocate, and they need homes too. So, and then the postal workers, I've been advertising tons with the postal workers because I see them so frequently from my other business that they're my best of friends now. Those postal workers, they've had their jobs 30 years. They want to sell and make that money. They want to downsize. They want more, whatever they want. They're qualified. So I like them. Also, my favorite restaurants where I've met clients at in the past, I've made friends with the managers and the bartenders, and I've gave my cards to them, and I plan to maybe host social hours and little events just to make my brand again. I just want to get people in my face and contacting with me. So if I could throw a little appetizer hour where they can come get some pre-qual information, I'd be happy to host that. And also my husband, he's in concrete, and he works with the city, and he works with a big company here in Minneapolis. And I plan to collaborate with them. His boss has already been reaching out to me if I got my license and whatnot. So I know that concrete runs hand in hand with upping the value of your home. So we all are kind of getting our brains clicking together. Anytime that I come across a mortgage broker or anybody in our industry, I always let them know. My landlord for here where I'm renting actually happens to be a mortgage broker, which was a small coincidence. And on my social media, some of my friends that I've gone to school with are big dogs at big lenders now, and they're kind of like easy to talk to because I know them since 7th grade and I don't feel so intimidated. And I've learned a lot of knowledge from a couple of them guys already getting my own family pre-qualified. So yeah, that's my little list that I've come up with so far.
Absolutely, and on that last one, having a lender that you have a personal relationship with is, is huge, because again, you can feed them, your clients, and in return, they get clients that walk into the bank all the time looking for a loan, and, people that want to be pre-qualified, and there you are.
What I've noticed is those people, they like to interact with other people in the industry they see working. When you're advertising yourself and you're putting yourself out there, that makes it easy for them to approach you. And as soon as I started doing that, they started reaching out to me, which was like nice. It was very welcoming to the industry instead of so discouraging and new and unfamiliar. But I had to do my work. I had to make a little professional a little intro saying, I'm changing, I'm switching to real estate, I've signed with Keller Williams, I'm so excited. And that's when the people started reaching out to me.
That's wonderful. That's exactly how you want to do it. And I love that you touched on dogs, because right off the bat, you have a commonality with them, and the houses that you're going to show them as a buyer are going to be, look at the backyard. It's got, you're going to focus on that because you already have that connection with them, and that that's what they value. School board, awesome. The having knowledge of the schools and being involved with parents and the kids, right off the bat, you can talk to them about, the Egan School District is rated the highest. In the 7 metro, Egan has fabulous schools. And as a school board member, that speaks volumes. And again, you set yourself up not only as an expert in real estate, but as an expert in the community. So thank you. Thank you, Abby. Great.
Thank you. Farah wanted to jump in with us.
I hate to do this, but is the question like how I'm going to advertise myself? I was in the bathroom.
So, that's okay. No, it was just a few.
Sorry.
had community, if there were networks, either in the community or your personal network that you would like to tap into and how you would do that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I actually did kind of make like a little bit of a list that's in I think it's in my Google Docs. It's very small, so I'm kind of working on it still. But definitely advertising myself around my apartment community. I live in a very big apartment community in Apple Valley. And people are moving out like crazy. So that's a really big one. I've met a lot of people just by living here and communicating and like kind of like what Abigail said, going up to the dog park. This is a huge animal community for dogs. I've met a lot of people that way. I also have made, I made a spreadsheet with like all of basically my sphere, all of my friends and families, like birthdays and, their addresses and, their spouses and everything, so that I can make like little postcard mailers and send those out with like my business card, and then also make magnets with my business cards on them to send them to those people to let them know. And if I'm on a magnet, maybe I'll be on their fridge and they'll see me.
Yeah, that's a great idea too, that you're in a community that's moving, that's transient. People are rent until they can buy. And so,
Yeah.
where you are, I can help you with that,
Yeah.
where you're thinking. And so I know you have kids, so you want at least 3 bedrooms. So, yeah.
It's a big community, so hopefully. And then I am a server too, and so that makes it a little bit easier to communicate with like a lot of my my coworkers and like a lot of the bartending coworkers that I have. I've talked to the general manager about it. He's pretty aware, of my fluctuating schedule with all of this. And I've talked to the owner as well. And he said he'd be willing to advertise me to his other, restaurants and businesses around the Twin Cities. So that's huge, I think.
That's huge. That's really huge. And in return, you're gonna send your clients that are from out of town or out of the community to their restaurants.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think it's continually building that partnership in the community. And, when the more you refer, the more you actually patronize the restaurants and you work there, the more you're out there. And the more when somebody says, I'm looking for a house, your name's gonna come up.
Hopefully, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you. So winning the customer's confidence and trust in you. So when we look at this, how do you turn a customer into a client? And what is the difference between a customer and a client? Let's just kind of back up for a minute. Sure. Does anybody want to touch on that?
Well, a customer is anybody. And a client is somebody that you have signed paperwork with to work with you.
Exclusively, exactly. That's exactly it. And you develop the language to differentiate between a customer and a client. But the client really comes when you sign that buyer's agreement. So then they are officially a client. So, so we're gonna do one more exercise. I'm gonna give you a scenario and want you to spend a few times thinking about it. So you're in line at Caribou and it's a long line and there's a couple behind you and they're talking about how stressed they are, and they kind of share with you that, well, we're moving to this community. My husband's been transferred here. He's a doctor, and we just sold our $1 million home in New Orleans, and we're looking for a community, and we've met with a realtor, and we just and they're sharing all this. They don't know you're a realtor, but within 3 minutes while you're waiting in line, you learned that they are new to the community, that they are actively seeking a house, you've learned what their education level is, and you've learned that they have a really quick timeline. So there's your scenario. Think about how you're going to, and I thought we would role play this, and maybe Jess can help me with that too. How would you set that up, and how would you turn that customer, because that's a customer, you've talked to them, into a client?
Yeah, well, I mean, that happens to me. My kids get so embarrassed. They're like, don't say anything. Like they'll hear somebody say that. It's like that Progressive commercial where she takes off running, right?
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
Not today.
I'm slow, right? I'm like, no, okay. So,
Sometimes I'm nosy, like if I
Yeah.
hear people, I'm like,
right?
Yeah.
It's like you have radar. As soon as they're like realtor, moving, you know, listing, it's like, you're like, oh, okay. So yeah, I think it's one of those things where, again, like we talked with Jason, like knowing that script and knowing what to say.
Exactly.
Because you can be like, that internal dialogue in your head, oh my gosh, don't say anything because you don't know enough, just let it go, right?
Do you want to role play that? You and I?
Yeah.
Okay, come on up.
Okay.
So this is actually based on a client that did come to me that way. It was not in Caribou, it was in that past blue broker.
Yeah.
And it was a walk-in. So let's, I will be the client
Okay.
and you are me.
Okay.
So, I am here, we are on a tight, timeline, want to be in Faribault, but, I'll be working in Faribault, but I want to live next to my son who is in college in Northfield, and looked at a few homes there, but I'm wondering what else is out there.
Sure. So what is your timeline?
I have to be out, I sold my house, I have to be here in Minnesota and start my new job in 6 weeks.
6 weeks, all right. That is amazing. And so are you looking to be in Faribault or would you like to be in Northfield?
Well, I thought I wanted to be in Faribault
Okay,
because that's where my clinic is.
sure.
But I kind of want to be in Northfield next to my son, who's
Sure.
in college there, and he's our baby.
Yeah,
My wife here is on the school board,
okay,
and she'd like to get involved
sure.
in that. So we did meet with an agent and we looked at a couple of houses, but we'd like more information.
Sure, and did you happen to sign anything with that agent?
We did not.
You did not, okay, perfect. And how about, have you talked to a lender for the financing portion of it? So if we wanted to put an offer in ASAP, we'd be good on that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we do have a lender.
Okay.
That we used in Wisconsin,
Sure.
but I'm not sure if he can.
Yeah. He might be able to. I can also get you in touch with a couple of people that I work with. So how about this? Let's set up a search on the MLS, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna send you homes that are out there for you to look at. And it comes 6 o'clock every morning, bright and early. We can also make it ASAP, so it gets to you immediately, because we're working on a super tight timeline here, and we probably wanna just go as soon as possible, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, great.
We're here for 3 days. Can we go this afternoon?
We for sure can. All right, so I'm gonna put everything together, and I just have a couple of things that I'll need to gather from you. Could you email me that approval letter that you've got?
Well, actually, I don't have my computer with me. I text.
Okay.
Maybe.
Sure. So if you would just want to text your lender, see if we can get that over. We can start with that. We'll see if that might work here. I can talk with him and see if he can do that in Minnesota. And you know what? I'll just go look up on the MLS, see what we have. And are you available today at 2 o'clock?
Absolutely.
All right, I'll meet you there.
There.
In wherever we're going.
Great, so, that's pretty much how it went. And the reason does anybody have any guess as why I brought up their education? Any guess why that's important?
Income level?
No. The purpose I brought that up, and it's less about education and more about industry that they're in, is because in this particular, as a doctor and a school board,
Motivation.
they're motivated, but they also value knowledge. And the reason they didn't like the other agent that they met with was he had no knowledge of the community.
Sure.
He didn't know about the schools, you know, and he didn't know how to work with someone that, you know, they want facts, they want knowledge, they want to know that you're the expert and that you're knowledgeable. You know, had it been that he was in the plumbing industry, you know, talking about houses that are well built.
Right.
So understanding what they value. And in this case, that turned out to be a $700,000 buyer for me.
Right.
But the key was, again, recognizing what they valued.
Yeah.
The knowledge of the community. I actually, so he was gonna be working in Faribault. They wanted to live in Northfield. Not knowing the town, not knowing the travel, I put together for every listing that we looked at, how long it would take him based on the time of day to get there. And they loved it, you know? So we did end up in Northfield, which actually I had never sold a house in Northfield.
Yeah.
But, you know, here's the schools, here's the school board, here's the campus. Having all that knowledge and introducing them to people that could get them there. They bought a beautiful home in Northfield and, you know, he started it. But, so I think the focus there, and I'm turning a customer into a client, was understanding why they weren't happy with the other one and what they value. And usually they're connected.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I have on our sheet, like a buyer lead sheet, is what is important to you in a real estate agent, right? And they all, like 9 times out of 10, it's communication, right? And that can be many different levels. It could be like communication of, like all this stuff that we need to know about, right? So it's super helpful to ask that. And sometimes they're caught off guard and they're like, oh, that's nice to know. You care about that, right? So
Exactly.
Yeah, super good.
Exactly. Good. Thank you. Did anybody have any questions on that? In talking about the first meeting with buyers, one of the first things that I establish is how they like to communicate. You know, are you an email person? Are you a text person? Are you a phone person? Right off the bat, because the sooner you understand how quickly they're going to respond to you, the better.
Right.
So, and the final one being responsiveness and honesty. You know, the responsiveness really is twofold. When you understand how they communicate, you can respond to them in that manner, you know, as quickly as possible. And the honesty comes in, you know, your knowledge and in meeting the needs. So a buyer's consultation. The biggest thing is, so you've met with them, you establish a place and a time. So where would you do that? I'm just gonna throw out, where would you meet with them? And why is that important? So for me, meeting with them at here in the office establishes 2 things. It establishes that you're a professional and that your broker is a professional company that is, you know, throughout the United States. And I do spend time talking about Keller Williams, not a lot, But I do talk about how big they are, how we are in every state, in every town, and in other countries, I believe, as well.
58.
And why that's important to them and to me. So you establish that level of professionalism. So meeting them here at the office, if that doesn't work, meet them out by theirs. But I've also found, don't meet them at their house. If you can at all avoid meeting a customer that you hope to turn into a client at their house, because it changes the power, if you will. When you step into their house, that's their kingdom, that's theirs. When you make it neutral or you bring them to your office, it establishes the playing field that you're the professional. You're gonna help them, you're gonna guide them through this, and you have a huge network and broker to help you with that. So I always use this too. I have a buyer's worksheet that I go through with them. And, you know, it's everything from what is their timeline, why they're moving, and I certainly can send this out to everybody. And in going through that process, it helps clarify with them too. You know, what community do you want to be in? I don't get to budget till the very end, because I don't want it to look like that's important to me. It doesn't matter to me whether you're buying a $200,000 house, you know, or a $700,000 house. You're going to get the same level of service. I also have a portion that I talk about what you can expect from me. And that's a whole list of honesty, keeping you updated on the market, all of that. And then I go into, you know, what will I expect from you? You know, which is loyalty. And, you know, at that point, you talk about a buyer's agreement. Some people do the buyer's agreement before they even show them a house. Other people show them 1 or 2 houses and then ask them to sign a buyer's agreement. Some agents actually don't even bring out the buyer's agreement till they're making an offer on a house, and it becomes part of the paperwork. Not the best solution, but just when do you do the buyer's agreement?
I do it, I tell them like I will look at one home without it. Otherwise, if it's somebody that I know, we always do it right away. And the reason is because, as with everything, you learn what not to do because you got burned on it.
Yes.
And so I just had a very strict rule that when I was gonna work with somebody, I needed to get them under contract. And because I tell them, I don't work for free. And that's what I'm doing is if we aren't under contract, right?
Right.
And I point out that really they're just paying the broker admin commission and the seller's paying for me, right? So it is in their best interest to be represented well. And like I mentioned when Jason was here, I say, you know, the thing is I have to make sure that, you know, I'm a good fit for you, but I also have to make sure you're a good fit for me. Because, you know, and then they're like, you mean like you wouldn't work with me? And I'm like, maybe. We need to see, you know, like if I've never met you.
Right.
You might be crazy, right? So,
and
but
you will have those, absolutely, have
Yeah.
the crazies.
yes.
But so you do it after showing them 1 or 2 houses?
Yeah, like if they push me on that, they're like, well, I'm not comfortable signing something right now. Usually when they're brand new, they don't even know, right? And I just say, all right, let's meet in the office. And that's a safety thing too. Because if I've just met them online or something, I don't know them. And I want to meet them here during office hours so that I'm not alone, right? And then we go through everything and then I set up the search while I'm sitting there with them. And then I make sure they get it. And then we talk about it. And so it's not like the fastest process, but I cover everything so that the next time we meet, we're at a house, right? And it's gonna go well because we have everything, educated on what we're doing.
Absolutely, and that's exactly why I do it, and exactly why I don't go to their home. Because I have been in situations where I put my card up at Pleasant Hill Saddle Shop, got a call from somebody that said, I live out past Northfield and I have 30 acres and I'd like to sell my house and split up my acreage. Why don't you meet me at my house? And mistake, I did it. And I was scared the whole time. I'll be totally honest with you. And so I learned from that, that bring them into the office, get a sense for who they are, and let them get to know you and establish that. So this a lesson on my own mistakes and why bringing them into the office is so important, and why getting that I too show them 1 or 2 houses and then sign it. But it's building that trust. It's letting them know, I want to know I can work with you as well.
Right.
So budget and finance, I do that at the end when we're setting up the search, when I have the criteria. Again, so I built the foundation that I treat all of my clients the same way, and that it doesn't matter what your budget is. I do recommend 2 people. If they do not have a lender, I recommend our in-house, Brian, as well as Keller Mortgage. And I don't know if you guys have gone through Keller Mortgage, but the wonderful thing, and you can get these flyers, which are really great, is that they will save money with Keller Mortgage, but it's all online. There's no origination fees, there's no lender fees, $1,000 at closing. So it doesn't hurt to check other lenders. So, questions? Thank you. That was it.
I have a question. You were just talking about the listing that you got that was out in the country. So you would meet a potential listing client too at the office before visiting their home?
That's a good question, Christine. That's a really good question, and I've done it both ways. If I know that person comes in through a referral in my network,
Okay.
I would meet them at home. If this is somebody that comes through, that I meet at the club, I don't know them well, this is my brother's house, come meet me there, I would meet them in the office. So that's
Okay.
kind of a judgment call of how comfortable do you feel with the referral? Kind of go with your instinct on,
Yeah.
does this seem, not right? Then I would bring them into the office. And if they won't come into the office, then, that's telling as well.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jess, for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mentioned about Steve's weekly report.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them were interested in that, so
Yes.
we can get on a email list for
I
that.
think he always leaves it on the Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
So
It's available there?
yes, he'll post it every month.
All of them?
Yeah, so thank you so much, Kathy.
Great. Thank you.
Don't forget your little stick, what's that called? The little.
Oh, in there, yeah.
That thing. All right, guys, thank you. And then sign on to the team meeting that's starting in 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Yep, bye.
Where is that in the report? I see it.
Is it right up there?